Welcome back to Outnumbered. America's national debt passing a new milestone, now over $18 trillion, topping that mark for the first time ever. That's a nearly 70% increase since President Obama first took office back in 2009, when the national debt was just over $10 trillion. Republicans have already said debt reduction is critical, and as you know, the GOP will be in control of Congress in the new year. Andrea, what will they do?
Well, they need to start with entitlement.
They're going to spend more money. Excuse me. Sorry.
You know what? That is a very good point, because you can't just hammer Democrats on spending.
Right.
I mean, Republicans spend a lot. They just don't spend as much as Democrats.
Well, it's government.
It is, and it's very seductive to hand out lots of free goodies, especially to your constituents.
That word.
And people who are going to vote for you, like
That's,
older people who love
right.
Medicare and Social Security.
But entitlements are the ones that are breaking the bank.
Right.
And so Simpson Bowles actually put out some very, I think, interesting proposals. The president hasn't touched it, but it was a bipartisan plan that would be an excellent starting point. They could dust it off because it already has some support in both chambers. We'll see if they do it, but it has to be entitlements.
Summer meeting they had, Simpson Bowles, and they came up with all those financial ideas, and everybody, wow, these guys are brilliant. And then the president had none of it.
He burned it in the fireplace, or was used as toilet paper. I don't know. One of the two.
We don't know that for sure.
It.
There was just
Maybe
smell
both.
throughout the house.
But
Maybe both.
Harris, isn't this the opportunity Republicans should seize on, where we don't want to hear, oh my gosh, debt's up 70% under Obama, and just complain about it? This is an opportunity to say this is how we're going to address the problem.
Bush doubled the debt. He doubled the debt. I mean, Obama's going to do the exact same thing. We can't have. And Obama in 2008 ran as a guy who said that much debt was un-American. So what is he now, like a card-carrying communist?
So
Not a
to
Kennedy.
answer your question, now that Kennedy's become hair, she has better hair though.
Not true.
This is really an opportunity for Republicans to do the one thing that Democrats couldn't do on immigration when they had bicameral leadership within Congress, right? So there are a number of issues. This one, though, is so huge because it touches jobs, it touches everything.
Yep.
So if they could do this on their own, imagine the precedent that could set. And maybe the president and the precedent
They
could
can't
get
do
together.
it. They can't do it.
Why can't they do it?
Well, because Republicans and Democrats are like parents. One of them is a profligate spender, has run up all the credit cards. The other one's a super enabler, and they're both raising our allowance every year.
That's great.
And we're not going to do anything
You
about
had
it.
great parents, by the way.
No, my parents were not like this.
Okay, let's take immigration, for example. What are Republicans saying? Let's build a big border fence. Thing's not going to build itself.
Well, and also you look at the influx of immigrants will also start to tax a lot and really drain a lot from our entitlement programs. I mean, President Obama initially said we're not going to allow them to collect Obamacare, collect benefits, collect entitlements. The White House is completely backpedaling on that.
Yeah,
That's going to be quite
now he's
costly.
promising they can actually keep their doctors.
Well, it's
Which is
interesting
just cruel.
because over the Thanksgiving holiday, there were reports that the president changed a number of bills, like upwards of 300, not bills, but
Regulations?
regulations within Obamacare. And we don't know how much of that is actually going to cost money.
House Speaker John Boehner and Mitch McConnell have said this will be a top priority in the new year. I look forward to hearing what they're going to do about
Well, the
it.
president said last year was the year of action.
There you go.
So we'll see.
It's tough to take goodies away from people, though, isn't it?
Seductive.
All right. Also on the money front, could we soon see some big changes to overtime pay in America? Well, the president reportedly will announce new rules early next year that would force employers to pay workers more overtime by limiting which ones can be called managers. And that typically exempts them from overtime pay. The new rules would also increase the $23,000 minimum amount a worker must earn before their employer can exempt them from federal overtime rules. One group close to the White House calling for a $50,000 minimum. Business groups reportedly think that's too high. Okay, I'm going to go to Sandra first on this. So to break it down, the president butting his nose into what business owners should be doing. This sounds completely disastrous.
So the first thing that you're going to hear me say is I am always in defense of business in this country. Small business, big business. We need our businesses to grow. That's how we create jobs. Government does not create jobs. Businesses create jobs. When they're growing, they're hiring. Anything that we do that is anti-business or business unfriendly in this country, it halts the jobs progress in the United States. So I am I just don't understand this rhetoric, Andrea. I don't. And the president says that he's sitting down and meeting with CEOs, which he does. I don't understand how he's not getting the message that this prevents them from growing. It prevents our economy from growing. If you can't tell, it frustrates me a bit. I mean, but this has proven to be a very business-unfriendly administration when it comes to taxes and regulations and rules and the level of uncertainty that businesses face.
And Harris, this is only going to slow that down, as Sandra points out, and make it harder for business owners to do business.
The one thing that really concerns me is just the quality of life for the individual. So now we have a huge percentage of people who got back to work since the Great Recession, having to work 2 and 3 part-time jobs to just get back to where they were financially. And that's exhausting, and it puts a lot of pressure on families. So what this does is also potentially sets up a situation for business owners to try to get around this and having their payrolls balloon by giving more people little jobs.
Can I just say
you're creating more part-time jobs, and that puts people in more and more positions of just pressure at home.
Can I say just one thing about this? I mean, it just shows how inane and insensitive this administration is. They have no idea how businesses, particularly small businesses, are run. You go out there, talk to some small business owners, talk to people who have, 20, 30 employees or less. Are they going to be able to pay people $50,000 a year, every single person?
They know.
Labor is, they know you
They know they don't care.
If the economy is growing,
but they're going to give
businesses will go with
exemptions,
it, and they will choose to pay.
But it goes hand in hand with this cronyism, and they will give exemptions to the largest corporations.
Tom, a lot of business owners say we spend so much time trying to comply with regulations and make sure that we're in compliance with all these new rules. It's so they have so little time to spend on actually running their business.
Well, once we're arguing about how high should it be, it's just like the minimum wage. How high should the minimum wage be? When should overtime kick in? Once we're arguing that, then the Democrats have won that issue. Instead of arguing it, Kennedy, how do you argue that the government has no place?
Okay, well, for example, my husband has a snowboard company. If he has to pay all of his employees $50,000 a year, what's going to happen to his board prices? He has a factory in the United States. He's going to have to charge $700, $800, $900 for a snowboard, but someone who's a mass manufacturer will be able to charge $300 or $400 because they get them made in China, where labor is cheaper. It drives prices up, and that hurts middle class and lower class
somebody might end up losing their job and not making any money at all.
Very populist message.
Can a politician articulate that, Kennedy?
Yes.
I've never heard it.
And that is the populist message. Drive wages
They can
up,
drive down the
limits
hours
jobs.
at which these
Drive
people
prices
are working.
up. Yeah.
Right? Drive down the hours. It takes them out of that category of a managerial position, which is what the president is trying to do. I mean, it creates more part-time jobs.
Which means more people are forced to shop at places like Walmart, which, liberals abhor.
We got to go to break, girls. It was a shipwreck, and Guy killed 32 people.
Well, he's outnumbered.
Wow.
Today, the captain of the Costa Concordia is giving his first court testimony about the disaster off Italy's coast, how he's answering the tough questions, and disgraced NFL star Ray Rice breaking his silence after an arbitrator overturned his suspension for knocking out his wife. We heard from Janae just yesterday what Ray Rice is saying about his marriage and what he wants now. Up next.
We love you, Tom.